Well, I mean, thankfully. vaguely familiar.
What's up, man? How are we feeling today?
Feeling pretty good.
Good stuff. I think before we start with this week, we kind of have to go back to the last one, right? Which I'm sure is a memory you love revisiting.
Oh, yeah.
Tell us what happened, not in that fight, but the few days following after, the journey home. What's it like feeling a second loss in a row?
Second loss, first time ever being beaten. It was tough. It was a lot of soul searching, a lot of like examining my camp, examining myself, examining my mindset, and yeah, it sucked, but it was a blessing in disguise because I was able to get back to what makes me me. I was able to get excited again about fighting and enjoying the whole process of everything.
Was that a surprise to you? Because I think most people would imagine with a loss like that, it could actually ruin your motivation to keep fighting. But for you, it relit a fire, it got you back in there?
Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, I didn't perform to my best abilities, and that's what it's all about for me, is performing and loving the performance and going out there and enjoying it and not worrying about the outcome, because the outcome is going to come however it's going to come. You know, God decides that. I decide how I'm going to perform, and I go out there and do my thing. I do my thing, and I'm pretty much impossible to beat. So it was good.
Not to rub in the issue, but do you then look at him going, he gets to go and go fight Israel Adesanya, and that's a big fight, and you think, oh man, I could have even beaten Israel more convincing than him, or do you just not even think about that sort of stuff?
Yeah, it's none of my business. Like that's his business. My business is getting back to Dominick Reyes. His business is, you know, being a great champion and defending the light heavyweight division and, you know, putting respect on our division. You know, I respect what he's done and I respect what he's doing. He was ready to be champion. It was time for him to be champion. It wasn't time for me to be champion. So his journey is his and my journey is mine, and that's how I look at it.
You talk about your journey now, you got that fire relit underneath you. So how has that manifested itself in this training camp for this particular fight?
Oh, it's been a lot of training in the dark, training, you know, not a lot of eyes on me. Not, you know, everybody kind of wrote me off after the last one. So it's good. I'm able to go back to working in the bunker and building these bombs back up.
Do you think that's maybe, that's a good line, do you think that's maybe there was a thing of after the Jones fight, there was like way more attention on you, it's almost too much, and you'd rather be away from that, rather just hone your skills outside of that sort of attention?
Yeah, I would agree. I'm a pretty humble guy from a small town. The attention, I lost myself a little bit there. I did. And good to get back to family and my roots, man.
Do you think there's also an element of maybe because you feel so strongly that you beat John, that you were like an uncrowned champion in your mind, and maybe that could have sort of swayed your attitude in training or in your preparation?
Well, not at all. I know I won that fight, period, no matter what. Nobody could ever take that away from me. But that didn't have anything to do with it. The thing that had everything to do with it was things surrounding the camp. I was only a 6-week camp after a 6-month layoff. You know, that's a tough thing to do overall. But not only that, you know, I had things going on in my life and my family, and I wasn't in the right headspace. I wasn't me. I wasn't me at all. I mean, the performance showed. I fought, didn't fight free. I fought timid. I fought, you know, not good.
So yeah, fair enough. Well, you didn't fight badly, actually. You did. Well, he looked like he was starting to slow, and then he caught you.
Well, yeah, I know, but
to your own standards.
To my standards, it was not a good fight.
Fair enough. When you see this opponent, Jiri, he seems like a bit of a quirky guy. You're fighting on Saturday. When you look at him, and you know we haven't seen him a lot in the UFC. What are your views?
I think he's talented. I think he is athletic. I think he hones the samurai spirit, in my opinion. You know, I feel like he loves being a fighter, and fighting is him. And I respect that. I respect what he's doing. He works very hard. He was smart not coming to the UFC earlier because his skills weren't developed. I still think they're not good enough to beat me. So we'll see. We're going to see. I'm excited about the opportunity. It's one of those things where this guy has all the hype that I once had, and it's an opportunity for me to get it all back.
Do you think with beating him, you're right back up there immediately?
Absolutely. I mean, I'm number 3 already. I'm already up there. I'm still up there. It's not get it, I'm still number 3.
Fair point.
But he's coming to fight me. It's not me fighting him. It's him trying to use my name to catapult himself. For me, this is just defending my position and saying, hey, I'm not going anywhere. I'm here, and I'm better than I was. I'm coming back better. I'm a better version of myself. I'm not fizzling out. I'm not going anywhere. I think that's what kind of this is in the eyes of the fans and what's going on. But yeah, he's not. I'm not fighting him. He's fighting me.
Well, last thing from me, and probably the most important question: have you seen his haircut? Okay.
I have.
It's impressive stuff.
It's pretty crazy.
Dom, how many times have you watched that John Jones fight back?
We're like 10 times ish. No, maybe less. It's funny because every time I watch, I see something new. I'm like, whoa, whoa. So,
I mean, is it something that it's going to be if you don't get back there, if you weren't to win the title, like how much will that just kind of haunt you, and would you be able to get that out of your mind otherwise?
I don't really understand the question. It's not haunting me. It's a part of my life.
I'm thinking in the future, like when your career is done, thinking back to like that moment that they didn't give you the belt, that you won a fight that they didn't give you the belt.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, that's a crazy thing, like for sure. But it's not something that I dwell on. I won that fight, period. I'm a warrior. He's a warrior. I fought him. We know what happened that night. Everybody knows what happened that night. Everybody saw it. I know what happened. In my heart, I won. So there's no going back to it. There's no, oh man, if this would have happened, oh, if I would have done this. That's over. That's the past, I'm now fighting Jiri, and now I'm ready. I'm me. I'm back to me. I lost myself after that fight because there was a myriad of things going on, and the attention, and it was constant questions like, what would anything you can do or whatever. Like everybody kept trying to bring me back to that, and it was just like, it's over. But I was still holding on to it as well, and now it's over. It's over.
I guess, was that a lesson you had to learn then, that you have to just put it behind you and move ahead and do what's in front of you?
Well, that's the thing. I was trying to do that, but nobody would let me.
Right.
Literally, I was trying. So I was like, it's over. And every single interview, anybody I talked to, on the street, you won that fight. Like, all right, I know I won that fight. Like, I appreciate you. Thank you, man. I appreciate your support. I really do. But it's over. Like, I know I won, and I appreciate you saying that I won, but I need to focus on this next opponent, right? And I wasn't. I was, but it's, like I said, my camp was not good.
Does it frustrate you that he's gone from the division?
It frustrated me that he wouldn't give me the rematch.
Right.
I think that's something I was holding on to when I was fighting Jan. It was, man, I wanted to fight John. I spent the whole year kind of like campaigning to fight John again, and the rematch, he even told me the rematch is going to be amazing, and then nothing, and then he bailed. So I was like, damn, and then oh, in 6 weeks you're fighting Jan. I'm like, okay, that's kind of how it went, and realistically, I wasn't mentally ready for that fight because I was still living in that whole rematch, the saga that we were going to create, and it was going to be epic, and it never happened.
And the last thing, any good documentaries that you've seen lately?
Yes. I don't know the name of it, but we need to stop destroying our oceans, for real. It's not cool, man. Overfishing is not okay.
Thanks, man.
What's it say then to yourself that the UFC, even though coming after those big fights, big losses, but they come back to you again and say, we want you at the top of the bill for this card? What does that say to you and their confidence still in you, and what does that do for your own sense of confidence, knowing that they still have that much belief in you?
Well, I know I belong here. They know that the circumstances surrounding the last fight were a little bit wonky. I know. I'm an exciting fighter, bottom line. I usually perform, and even when I don't perform to my best abilities, I put on a show. I went down on my shield last fight. I went down swinging, bottom line. I didn't cower out and just lose and curl up in a ball and be like, oh, just stop the fight. No, I fought to the end. I fought with all my heart that I was capable of at that moment. Well, it wasn't enough, but it was still everything I was capable of, and I'm going to show up and give you everything I got, whether I think it's enough or not, whether it is or you know what I'm saying. Like I'm gonna fight hard and I'm gonna put on a show. I love to fight. I love to go out there and perform, and they know this. And I'm like I said, I'm number 3 in the world still. I'm not an unranked guy coming in thinking I deserve a title shot. You know, like I know I have some work to do. This guy's on the list of guys that I got to take out and get back to the title. And next time I go for the title, I'm gonna be ready for it.
And something you mentioned, which left a great mental image, I'd love if you clarify. You said this camp, you went dark. Is that just cutting off social media, or is it you just went to a dark spot in your head that you had to go to for this camp? Can you explain a little bit what you meant by?
It was a little bit of both. I wasn't messing around with social media. I think I deleted my Twitter. I haven't reactivated it, or it's activated, but I don't have it on my phone. Like I don't go on Twitter. It's very toxic. I realized how much toxicity is out there, and I let it seep into me previously, and it was just a learning lesson, But then also, I did go dark. I went to that dark place and really examined myself and everything around me, and really, really took a good look at things from a realistic point of view, and then I found the light, and now I'm back.
And you mentioned earlier, you talked a little bit about the hype, and then maybe that was part of the dark spot is realizing, when we all can kind of get caught up in our own stuff, when we all feel like, hey, I'm doing the best I can. How much of that, and maybe that's part of the Twitter, how much did you realize that you were putting on yourself when it came to maybe the hype, and how much was it just listening to the Twitter and everything, and then somehow buying into that and getting caught up into that?
It was you gotta understand the timing on it too. Like right after that fight, quarantine. We're just at home. Everybody's at home. I'm not going in the streets. I'm not going to UFC events and enjoying it and growing and doing things and training in other places. I'm not even going to the gym because I don't want COVID. You know what I'm saying? So we're all at home, so everybody's on their phone, everybody's online, everybody's talking, everybody's trash talking this or that, this and this. And it's such a toxic environment. It's so toxic. And I realized that. But I was reading all the comments and getting all involved and replying back to people and replying back to the trolls that were sending me messages like, dude, that's so not good. That's super bad for your mental health. Especially in a sport like this where mental health is 80% of the battle. If you're not mentally there, if you're not 100% ready to go, then man, you're facing a very uphill battle. And that's what I dealt with last fight, and I'm very aware of all of it now. It was like the veil got pulled, and I got to see the other side for how it really is. And I'm like, all right, I know, I take everything for what it is now, and I just enjoy the moments, the little moments, the little things.
So does it feel that you're coming into this event a lot lighter, a lot less stuff that's kind of hanging on your shoulders?
Absolutely. The weight on me is very minimal. People are like, oh, but if you lose, it'll be 3. I won 17 straight. I lost 3. 2 of them were title fights. 1 of them I didn't even lose. Come on. This is a game of very, very small margins. And if one of those margins catches me, it's not something that I'm going to dwell over. I busted my ass. I'm working my ass. So I'm doing everything I can to be successful, to win. Winning. I love winning. Who doesn't love winning? There's no other feeling on earth like winning in the octagon and getting your hand raised. Literally, I've been in so many other sports. I've done so many action sports and different things, and there's nothing on earth like getting your hand raised in the octagon and defeating another man. It's addicting, and I want to get back to that feeling.
And you had said earlier that your opponent was coming in with sort of the samurai mindset. Mm-hmm. He also, from what I gather, doesn't seem the kind of opponent that's going to be talking a lot of trash through the fight week. So you guys are going to come here, in a sense, in a pure fighting environment. So is he the perfect opponent for you to come back in here and get back onto the winning
I think
weight?
so, yes, because he's a true martial artist. He's gonna bring his best. He's gonna put his all into it, and I only want that. I want guys that are good and they're ready to go and they're mentally there and everything's on point. Because how am I gonna be like, oh, I'm so proud of this I did this. Yeah, but that guy was compromised. Whether or not, whatever. But I don't know. I think it's going to be a pure matchup, like you said, and there's not a bunch of trash talking. It's respect on both sides, and it's going to be a good fight. It's going to be a great fight. It's going to be a lot of technical skill involved on my side. It's going to be a great performance.
And you kind of touched on it in the last one for me, I guess. Showing up with the clear head, what final things, what are the keys to the victory for you to make sure that you get your hands raised at the end of the night?
My keys to victory is just, like I said, just be myself. Be Dominick Reyes. Be what got me into the title fight. Be what got me all those finishes. Be the guy that just goes out there and has fun and enjoys his performances. And, you know, one way I could explain it to you is when I fought all my fights, it says for the Jones fight, for the Weidman fight, for everything, when they came to get me to fight, it was, hell yeah, let's go. Like, finally, it's my time. For the last fight, it was, oh, shit, here we go. And that's as subtle and as simple as I could put it. And I'm back to, hell yeah, let's get this.
That's awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you. All right. Thanks, guys.
What's up, buddy?
How's it going?
Good, man. So, MMA Media Tournament. You want to see us all fight each other? Who are you booking?
I want to see everybody. Man, when that whole thing blew up, I was looking forward to booking a fight just so I could face everyone and say, ask me to my face what my intentions were, because they weren't malicious. As you probably have heard me speak about it, but yeah. I just wanted a deeper connection between us and you guys, and understanding of what we go through on weeks like this, what it's like to be away from our family and have the pressure and cutting weight, and we're trying to, keep a smile on our face, and just that emotional roller coaster. Like I've just wanted you guys to know what it felt like and just have a deeper understanding of that.
Were you surprised by the reaction of some of us? I know the fans they were big into the idea, but were you surprised that maybe some MMA media were a little bit offended by it?
Yeah, and I get why, because I was, it was explained to me, and I thought some guys were a little touchy. And I thought that was funny because we're always being accused of being touchy and sensitive. And I was like, oh, look how the tables are turned, So it was all for good conversation. But yeah, in no way would I say that you're not good at your job or that you don't deserve to be there, unless I really thought that you intentionally tried to switch people's words around and stuff like that. Because at the end of the day, that was my little bit of a beef, is just what I say is important, and if you try to manipulate it in any way, that offends me,
I don't want you to name any names or any outlets or anything, but do you have like a story in mind?
I have a list.
Oh,
No,
really?
no.
Do you have one in particular that you're like, that was really unfair or anything like that?
Yeah, I've done interviews, and I think a lot of the problems are when I do like I'm on a radio show, and then they'll have an independent person read the, like what we said, and then write an article, and then they do like the bait-click headlines, which just drive me nuts. Because I'm all about the old school, good stories, what this person's been through, what they're coming back from, because that's what this sport is about. It's like I just get a little offended when I tell you something that's going on in my life that's hard and that I'm working through, and then you guys ask me last second, what do you think about what Connor just said? And then I answer the question, and that's the headline. It's like, well, that's besides the point. That wasn't what the interview was about. I just get tired of that, and that's why I do a lot less interviews nowadays.
I can understand that. What would you feel about the suggestion that maybe MMA media don't have to take a fight, but I'd be interested to see what they would do during a weight cut. Like maybe we should all just do a massive weight cut and see how you guys feel doing that.
I mean, any of the things are very unique in its own, but to do them all together, I've heard people say, I'll come train with you for a day, and I laugh and I say, no, don't come train with me for a day, train with me for 3 months. See how you feel after 3 months, like training for a day isn't that hard. You can get through it. But when you train for a day and then I come knocking the next morning to pick you up and you got to do it again and then again and then again, you start to like, nah, I don't want to do this anymore. At the end of the day, I just
understanding of it, or do you think that actually your suspicions of how MMA journalists behave sometimes are actually being confirmed?
I think, first of all, why some of the media members got offended is, I think, having a journalism degree and going through all those hardships and trying to get into the...
I've got a journalism degree, it's not that hard.
But trying to do all the things to be the best at your craft, I respect that, and I was never trying to discredit that, just to clarify. But yeah, I think with all the conversations that have been had, I think media can respect me a little bit more and and they can ask me and say, hey, what did you mean by that? And I'll explain myself, and I'll have I literally had 2-hour conversations on the phone with a couple people that I've known for a long time that said, yeah, I knew that I know you, so I know you didn't mean it like maliciously. And we just had like a back and forth conversation, and it was really cool. Made me have a better appreciation for media in general. But the things that was complaining about are kind of across the board in media. It's just the world we're in right now. So, nothing against you guys personally.
Cool. Well, thanks for talking about it.
Yeah.
You mentioned then that media like to talk to you, and you express things that's going on in your life. What's going on in your life right now? How's the life of Cub Swanson?
Well, I think everyone's going through a hard time right now, and I've really been able to count my blessings, and just really appreciate my time with my family and being around all my training partners, and because there seems to be a lot of bad things that have been happening, deaths and obviously politics, which I don't want to get into, and you just seen a lot of divide, and I think this sport has really shined in the midst of all that, and it's been cool to be able to see all my coworkers, in a sense, my peers being able to still work and be able to perform and put on good shows for all these people that need entertainment.
Does it make you proud? I mean, I remember there was a time where saying you were a fighter, some people would sort of, their eyes would widen and they would be like, oh shit.
Yeah.
But do you think now, especially because the UFC's been able to go so on through the pandemic and keep providing people entertainment, do you feel a new sense of pride that, this is something that's more readily available and accepted by mainstream, and I can be proud that I am a fighter?
Yes. I feel that way very much so. When I first got into this sport, I had been getting into trouble, my story. I was a little bit of a punk kid and had gotten into trouble, and when I found Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and that got me off of, drugs and, just living this lifestyle that I shouldn't have been, became an obsession for me, and then transitioning into fighting, I saw it as like, this is it. This is what's going to keep me on the right track. And when I told people in my family that didn't understand, like you're cage fighting, like that, it seemed like I was doing the same thing. It seemed very parallel to me getting into trouble, and I had to explain. And I've spent the last almost 18 years explaining to people the art of the sport and the discipline it takes, and how that we're elite athletes, and that's been my passion this whole time. I've been educating people since day one on what this sport is all about, and I think we're seeing that today. I think we're finally getting the respect up there with the biggest sports. Like, this is the realest sport there is. It's one-on-one. It's, me and this other person, whether we have an issue or not, we're going to fight. We settle it. We shake hands afterwards. It's a lot of respect. Not always, but usually. And to me, that's pure. There's no excuses. There's no team. There's no ball. There's no interruptions. It's just the purest sport of them all, in my opinion.
Awesome. Well, when you look at this weekend, Giga Chikadze, what do you think about him? He's a guy on the rise. He seems like a guy with great talent. Mm-hmm. When you look at him, how do you see the fight playing out, and what about him in particular excites you or perhaps worries you?
Well, I always give a lot of respect to anyone I fight. I think when I don't, I get myself into trouble. So I really respect his strengths, which are obviously his kicks and his kickboxing background. I don't think that he's as well-rounded as he needs to be in the top of the UFC in our division. I know he's working all those things, and he's got a good team. But yeah, he's got a good record, and I don't know don't think the guys he fought have been the best of the division yet. So I don't think that he deserves to be up at the top yet. I think he's on his way, and he's got to get through me, obviously. And I think I'm going to be a tough test for him. And I see myself reminding people why I've been around so long.
Looking forward to it, man. Thanks very
Thank
much.
You mentioned earlier the 3 months, how you'd offer for media to do 3 months. I think that would be invaluable. I think any of us would be ridiculous to pass up that opportunity if you ever gave it. But please don't. But jumping on that, going back to when you were talking about that, one of the things that I thought was great was that here you were coming out saying I think what a lot of other fighters probably wanted to say as well. Did they reach out to you as well and say, hey, Cub, good on you for kind of pushing back a little bit? What was the response from your coworkers or your peers when it came to that whole time?
Yeah. Some of them aren't so diplomatic, but I got people saying, yeah. And it was both good and bad that people jumped on because they kind of put their spin on it. But like I said, I think overall it was good for conversation. But I got more media writing me than fighters. But the fighters were just like, yeah, what you said. I hate when they do this or I hate when they do that, and just never really spoke up about it. So it was nice to know that we were kind of on the same page about things, and whether you chalk it up to just being a part of the sport or something that will one day change. I don't know, but like I said, I think it was great. We were talking about it.
And I love your story, and I love how you've shared your troubled past and how you reached out to youth and you've reached out to troubled youth. Did you ever envision, even when it came to being sort of the spokesman for your coworkers in this aspect, did you ever envision yourself that one day you would be more of a vocal piece? Being out here educating people, speaking to things. Did you ever think at one point when you got into this that you would end up to where you are right now?
No. I was just happy to be a part and feel kind of validated that to be in the big show and to be with the best of them. But as you grow, you gotta put more on your shoulders and reach higher. And that's what I've been able to do over the years. And I, like what I was talking about earlier. It used to be where I was embarrassed to say what I did for a living because, not really embarrassed, I just felt like people didn't understand what I was doing. And now that it became cool, and now it's really like, it's very accepted. Wow, you fight in UFC. I feel proud of that, what I've accomplished and being able to represent the company. And I try to represent the company the best way possible. You don't hear me getting any DUIs or, any kind of criminal troubles anymore, And a long time ago, when I realized I started getting a following back home, it was very crazy to me because I would run into some very, in my hometown, I'd run into some very connected people, let's say leaders of some organizations. And they would come up to me and give me respect. And I realized that these people were respecting me, and the police officers were respecting me, and teachers. And I realized that how people were starting to look up to me. And I had the opportunity to make a good impact or a bad impact. And sometimes I get frustrated with athletes that don't care and don't want to have a positive influence because you don't want that responsibility, but you have that responsibility. And so I just decided from then on that I would try to be a good influence. And as I've gotten more mature and older, I've talked about, the fears of fighting, the ups and downs, just because the next generation, I want them to have somebody that they can learn from. For me, being in the locker room with George St. Pierre and him talking about how he didn't want to be there, with like the most somebody who is like so Dominant at the time was just terrified and didn't want to be there. And I was like, wow, he gets nervous? It made me feel like my feelings were okay, you know? So I want the next generation of fighters to understand that it's all part of being tougher. You know, you have those feelings, you have those emotions, you deal with it head on, and you make the best of it. And I feel like, you know, it just kind of makes you better at life.
And what I love about that sentiment is trying to leave the lasting impression of a role model, whereas I think in this day and age, and get your thoughts on this, a lot of times it's almost the guys that come out and play the heel, play a character, you know, or going out and maybe representing something to get that bigger initial paycheck next, that next big thing, but maybe aren't talking about the lasting legacy. What is more important? I'm sure, obviously, the big paychecks are always important, but at the end of the day, what is it? Is it more about what you want to leave after in how you carry yourself through this career, or is there ever a day when Cub is going to turn heel and start, you know, giving us all these crazy antics and things?
No, I've tried to be true to myself from day one, and you know, I tried out for season 5 of The Ultimate Fighter, and they basically said that I didn't have TV personality, and I was okay with it because I said if I don't get on trying to being myself, I'm okay with that. But if I didn't get on and I tried to play a role or a character or tried to be something I wasn't and I didn't get on, or even if I did trying to be something I wasn't, I wouldn't feel good about it. So that's been how I've been the whole way. I feel like when you're trying to pretend to be something you're not, yeah, you may make more money, but is that worth it in the long run? You know, like that money comes and goes. For me, it's about, you know, I always envisioned walking my kids to school one day, and if someone's gonna be like, "Hey, Cub, you were a prick," you know, or it's like I don't want that. I want them to be like, "Hey, I loved watching your fights. You always brought it. You're always been like a cool dude." So that's been like my mentality the whole way.
That's wonderful. And something going along with the pride of being a fighter, is there something else now, or are you seeing more of it now with the fact that UFC is going to Jacksonville, they're opening up fully capacity? Are you getting another sense of pride knowing that the UFC is being sort of on the forefront and willing to open things up and help push that forward to help get back, I guess, to that old sense of normal?
Yeah, I am proud of it. It's a little scary too, because I don't want to be, you know, having own businesses and knowing about liability, and it gets scary to think like, okay, we don't want anything bad to happen, so you're hoping for best case scenario. But it's pretty cool to see the UFC be the forefront of that before all other organizations, and no one wants to make the mistake. And Dana's been, you know, like I said, really good about it. So my hat's off to the UFC for everything they've done. And I think the staff, having worked this whole time, it's been amazing. But I really, really, really want to give a shout out to all the fighters who have had to train during these hard times and make changes in their camps and not have as many people around. And I think the fighters deserve a hell of a lot for you know, being able to show up ready to fight during all of this, because you know, a lot of guys didn't even have their gyms open. So to ask a fighter to show up and be ready without even having your essential things there, you know, like I said, I think my hat's off to them. And like I said, my hat's off to the UFC for making that available for us and being able to still provide for our families.
Thank you for that. Two last questions. I appreciate your time. What's been, you know, you're talking about the fighters and the times that they have to spend. You have a few young ones at home. What's been the biggest challenge, I guess, as you said, keep getting back in the gym and keep doing this, taking yourself away from the family? What's been the biggest challenge and the hardest thing with the young family at home to stay motivated to keep doing this?
In the beginning, it was really hard to stay motivated. You know, a little bit of sleep deprivation. Just me and my wife saying it's your turn to change this diaper. You know, it gets tough, you know, but it's made us stronger together. But at this point, I've gotten used to it being tough, and maybe I got pampered a little bit at some point with having success and being alone and being able to just do whatever I want. And this is, you know, they say that fighters need some struggle in their life, and I got 3 kids. It's a lot of struggle. So I'm able to hang out with them, and I finally learned how to have the balance between it. So I work out really hard, and then I hang out with them, and then we have help during the week on certain days that I can take advantage of the rest. But I mean, I'm with my kids just as much as I'm training, and I think it's awesome. And that's been important to me because I don't want to keep putting them aside to chase a dream that I've been chasing for, you know, selfishly for years. You know, now is the time to slowly transition out healthy. You know, that way when I'm done fighting, it's not like a shock. Like I'm slowly transitioning out and making a life for myself, you know, beyond fighting. And I have my family to thank for that.
And that made me think, and I'm not trying to push you out, but since you brought that up, what is the timeline? What is the dream scenario? We talking 4 years from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? You know, what is is there a plan? Is there a sort of a set date? Is it an age? Is it an amount of fights?
Yeah, just I honestly think I got a couple more years. I don't want to. I literally take every fight like it's my last. I've been doing that for a while because I've had some major injuries in my career, and it's made me really know that it could be taken away at any moment. And so that's been kind of amazing that I've been around this long. But yeah, I think I got a couple more years. I don't really want to put too much on it because a couple wins drags you this way, you know, losses drag you this way. So I'm taking it one thing at a time, but I would love an ideal scenario to work my way back up the rankings one more time. And above all, I would love a retirement fight in Palm Springs, that they're building a 10,000 person arena, hockey arena in Palm Springs. And I would love to bring this sport back to my hometown where I started.
Sounds perfectly. And finally, when you look at this fight, what are the keys to the victory for you? What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arms raised at the end of the night?
You know, I always get asked this question. It's a simple answer, not, you know, easier said than done. But at this point in martial arts, it's about, in MMA in general, it's about who dictates the pace and who dictates the distance. And I think that's the major key here. I think, you know, for him to win, he likes a certain distance. He likes to maintain his pace, that he feels comfortable, that he can throw all his kicks and move around and be elusive. And I need to disrupt that. I need to be on the outside moving as well, and then in his face, and then roughing him up, make him uncomfortable, make him tired. And all those things messes his rhythm up. And I'm confident that I could do that. And that just makes him think, oh man, I'm having an off night. And that means it's a good night for me.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Thank you.
So you've been talking forever. I just have one follow for you though. You talked about like when you finally realized all the different people from different sides of the community came together and they all respected you and they all had their eyes on you, and it really inspired you to live the right way. How did you kind of avoid feeling like pressure, like to live up to, if all these people want a certain thing from you and want you to be a certain way and all eyes are on you all the time? It's got to be hard to not slip up at some point along the way.
Yeah, I felt a lot of pressure. It was the first time I ever felt pressure because I didn't want it, you know. But I came to realize that it was the path I chose. See, that was the crazy thing, because I wanted to be a fighter to just see how good I could be. I never wanted to be famous. I never wanted to be a superstar. I don't crave that attention. I could be alone in the corner and no one ever talked to me. That doesn't bother me. It doesn't poke at my ego. So when those things came along with it, it was a surprise. And I said, hey, you asked for this. You didn't know everything that came with it, but get used to it. And instead of shying away from it, I learned to carry it on my shoulders. And that's what I keep talking about being at this point in my career of where I've come. It's crazy to be able to have that. I keep calling it the championship mentality because, the champions in this sport have way more obligations than anybody else. When you're the main event, your media obligations, everything that they ask you to do is way more. So it's a lot more to carry, and rightfully so. So this whole career has taught me how to put things on my shoulders and move forward. Thanks, guys.
You'll be famous for a day. Let's go.
I feel like you've got more fame in you than just a day's worth.
Well, I mean, I try to live it up on Instagram. You know, I'm one of those guys that after I get retired, I'm just gonna repost fights. I actually hate those guys that do that. You know, they'll fight like 6 months ago and they repost the same fight every day. It's like, dude, move on with your life. Let's go. Let that shit die. All right. Anyways.
No, I agree. What is it? Who's the most worst offender, do you think?
Oh, you know what? My good buddy Jalen Turner. And Jalen Turner, he's a savage. Like, I think he has a legitimate shot at being the 55 champion.
The
But
tarantula.
But I swear to God, dude, every day I see a picture of him kneeing some guy in the face. I'm like, how many times are you going to repost the same damn picture, Jalen? Move on.
Do you have that argument with him at the gym?
Nah, Jalen's a man, dude. I should tell him to man up, though, and get a fight. But, you know, I guess that's part of the UFC's job.
So anyway, you're coming in here 3 in a row.
Yeah, right?
What's the feeling like?
I think it's more 2 in a row. I don't think we had count to leave. That was so long ago. That was a different time.
Yeah, but technically the record says 3 in a row.
Technically, yeah,
You know,
but
come
technically
on.
it's not.
Don't diminish your own accomplishments
Yeah.
here.
Nah, man, I feel good, dude. I feel good, dude. Just fucking another day in the office, man. Feel good. Feels good to be winning, you know. Saturday I could get knocked out and go back to my hotel room all pissed off, but as of now I'm on the high. Feels good.
Well, do you feel like your chances are good for this fight, or do you feel like you could get knocked out?
I feel like that I am 100% better than Jotko. I feel like, again, in the gym, I don't even think he'd want to be a sparring partner of mine. But again, a fight, 4-ounce glove, shit's dangerous. So yeah, no, chances are good as long as I don't act like an idiot.
Is that, you said he wouldn't want to be a sparring partner of mine, is that based on your own skills, or just you perceive yourself to be so much better than him in particular?
I've watched him fight. He's fought my friends, and yeah, so I'm basing off that.
Fair enough. So when you see the fight play out, based on that, how exactly do you see the win coming towards you?
I mean, Brad Tavares knocked him out in the third. Obviously, I never really I don't like to go in there with the mindset that you're going to finish somebody. I like to go in there with the mindset that you're going to get fucked up. It's going to be a war. Because then, you know, if that happens, you're ready for it. But if you go in there like, oh, I'm going to knock him out in the first round, next thing you know, the second, third round comes, you're bloody. You know, it's like to prepare yourself for a war. But, yeah, no, I mean, I should kick his ass, but you never know with fighting, man. I've trained with guys who suck, and then one day they show up and they're the best in the world, and the next day they show up and they suck. So we'll find out.
Do you kind of enjoy that? I can imagine you sort of enjoying the unpredictability of fighting.
You know what, man? Like, fighting sucks. Like, the winning and losing sucks. I'm telling you, if you guys were to watch some of my training sessions, it's better than every fights I've ever had. The problem with your record and kind of hinders performance. They said, hey, here you go, Sean. I'm going to pay you your flat fee, win and lose, and just go in there and have the best fight of your life. Like, seriously? I could fight again? I'm not going to take out. Oh, I would go in there fucking hands down, haymakers. It'd be the best fight. But now you start putting records on the line, win bonuses. You're a little bit more cautious, which sucks.
Is that the true pressure of, well, no, the true pressure of fighting is punching someone in the head. But is the pressure of fighting that comes with that, like, well, if I make a mistake, this affects everything
100%.
after the
Dude,
fact?
no, fighting's fucking easy, man. Like, you brought Jocko in right now and you said, hey, you want to fight in the middle? I'd have no issue doing it. I'd do it outside, do it in the cage. The pressure only comes from your record and your purse. It kind of, that was a hard thing for me to let go of as well.
In which sense?
So, just failure, man. Just fear of failure, going in there and, fighting like a coward. Just because you're like, oh, well, I want to try to knock you out, but what if I overstep and you hit me with a kick or something like that? And then, and in turn, that holds you back and makes you susceptible to it. But, yeah, fear of failure makes everybody a coward.
It's a weird sort of contrast, right? Because you need to play it sort of safe to advance your career, get the wins, but then the UFC, they want you to not play it safe and just go out there and go balls to the wall.
And then you're like, I could give you the fucking best fight of your life, but if I go and get knocked out, are you guys gonna bench me for 6 months? Like, how the fuck does that work, But no, man, I think this fight, it's gonna be violent, and I think it's gonna be good. I think you guys are gonna like it.
Stuff, man. Last thing for me, did you see Brendan Allen wants a rematch?
Fuck Brendan Allen. That guy's such a douchebag. Honestly, it's like if we could call out rematches, I have a list of guys before it's fucking you. Fucking Kamaru Usman #1, although it ain't gonna be a welterweight. But nah, man, Brendan Allen's just such a douchebag. What do you win? Like a heel hook, a leg lock. You took what, the coward's way out of submission? Like, fuck off, dude. Go focus on yourself, you know, like, or he's like, oh yeah, that was lucky. I beat your ass for 2 rounds. Shut up. Focus on yourself.
So no to the rematch.
Fuck him. And I'll tell you what, Renown, we keep winning. The moment you actually get ranked again and it's for a belt, then we'll give you a fucking rematch all day long. But do yourself a favor, do me a favor, and focus on yourself, you fucking loser.
Outside of Usman, who else is on the list that you're like, I need to get this one back at some point?
You know, man, I'm not necessarily like, I need to get this back. Like, everyone who's ever beat me, they deserve to win. Kamaru Usman beat the fuck out of me. I mean, it was hard to learn how to wrestle, and, you know, it was hard to learn how to wrestle in 8 weeks. I remember walking that fight knowing I was going to lose. Ponzinibbio Santiago, fucking another hard fight. It was like one of my fucking second fights or so, or third fights in the UFC. I was just too nervous. Fought in Brazil. But yeah, no, I'm not like that, man. If you won, hats off. Hats off. Do I think that I would beat the guys that beat me? Yeah. Do I think that Kamaru Usman obviously would be the hardest test? But yeah, hats off to everybody that beat me. Congratulations, you deserved it. I applaud you, man. Let's meet up for the belt.
And looking at your social media, since you brought up the Instagram, how close are you to becoming a OnlyFans mogul?
Oh, fuck, man. I mean, I haven't had to take off my pants yet, but if they offer me enough money, let's fucking go.
So, all right. So, what are your go-tos outside on a loss night and on a win night? What are your go-tos when you go to the Instagram? What are you going to post after a win, and what are you going to post after a loss? What are your go-tos?
You know, man, I'm a happy, miserable fuck at the same time. I'm happy. Like, I'm super happy, but I'm also like murderous and violent. So like, usually even after my last fight, I burned out. And I remember going back to my own hotel room, like, well, I was happy like 5 minutes ago. Now it's gone. Well, fuck. What do I do now? I guess we go train. So I mean, I'll probably bitch and complain about my loss and say, sorry guys, I should have did better. But hopefully we knock this fucking guy out, and then I could raise my hand and be like, thanks everybody.
Is social media a nice, I guess, release from the day-to-day of just training? And is it something that I guess it's hard to envision when you started, because you've had quite a bit of fights. Would you ever envision that it would become a big part of your day?
I mean, dude, we're all fucking attention whores, you know. But I will say one thing about being an attention whore on fight week. When you start getting a shit ton of attention, it's almost like too much. We're like, oh man, like I don't want to like reply. Like I get so many messages. I mean, I like social media. It's cool. It gives me something to do. I mean, fighting, we have a lot of free time, but we put so much into fighting that I think most nights MMA fighters are just watching porn and on Instagram. Like at the end of the day, like
everybody else.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, we put so much into it where it's like we don't really have social contact with people. It's more you train, you go home, you lay in bed, you do jack shit, you know. So Instagram's cool. It's it's a way to not have to contact people but still be social.
Did you guys bring anybody particular for this camp to try to mimic Jocko coming in here?
No, man, I've only watched Jocko fight once. Fuck, I think he's like a lanky guy. He likes to throw kicks, takedowns. No, I mean, I spar Sam Alvey, I spar Marvin Vittori, Brad Tavares a lot, where it's like, I don't need to mimic you, dude.
Those are good candidates.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, I have wars with these guys every fucking week, so it's like, nah. I mean, I have to go watch his footage. What should I watch out for? What's he good at?
Long range. Just watch his kicks.
Yeah, he has a good little body kick, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to try to counter it and break his fucking teeth. But no. That'll be good, man. It'll be a good fight.
And then looking just on the sheer numbers, you guys both have just incredibly long list of numbers of fights. I think you're both like 20, mid-20s and a few losses.
Unless you're in the UFC, it doesn't count. All wins that aren't UFC wins don't count.
Well, that kind of raises the question when you look at, I think somebody, if they saw that on paper, they're like, oh, these guys they're pretty even. You know, they have the same number of fights. But when you look at the experience you've went through, and then when you maybe have seen some of his stuff, the experience that he has, can his experience match with what you've went through?
I mean, like with our fights, or
yeah, just in terms of, is he going to come in with the same
did he get
experience?
abused as a child? Like, what are we talking about? Experience? No. But
were you?
No. I had a questionable uncle. Just kidding. Don't put that one. Get kicked out of the UFC. Block that one out. No, I don't have an uncle. Fuck him. Anyways, so no. I mean, again, if you're not in your wins in the UFC, if they're not in the UFC, they don't count. A lot of fighters, when you see guys come to the UFC 10-0, they're usually padded with fucking cans. It doesn't count. And again, you know, with Jotko, I've watched him fight. He's good. He's a tough fight. But I'm better than him in every aspect. Kickboxing, boxing, grappling, you know, it doesn't matter the aspect. I'm fucking better than him. And it just comes down to who shows up game night. If I show up and he shows up, I knock him out. If he shows up, I might get choked out. You never know.
And I know you said you like to, you do the training, then you just go back and do the social media, you do the isolation thing. Are you happy though that the world is seeming to open up more? The UFC just went and did an event with full crowd, 15,000 people. Are you excited for that and looking forward to that? Or
you know, I kind of like the no crowds. Not that I hate on fans. I love fans. They're the reason why we have the job. But it's a more like intimate setting. You know, you could hear punches, you hear corners. Like it's a little bit more violent. Like it's it's nice. You could focus and enjoy the process a little bit more. You don't have anybody booing or anything like that.
But if you walk out there and people are just shouting your name, making you go crazy, would they switch your mind on that?
I really enjoy quiet, you know. I like quiet. Maybe I'm might be a little autistic or something, but yeah, I like the quiet.
And then last thing for me, out of all the things that can kind of play it, I'm sure you played this fight out in your head, but what are the keys to the victory for you? What needs to happen to make sure you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
Keys for victory, man. Fuck me, I should be asking. I've only watched him fight once. What are my keys to victory?
Well, I mean, just
I'm asking you, bro. You're the guy. What do I have to do to win?
Just be you. Walk forward. Get in his face.
Yeah, no, I mean,
make it dirty.
That's really my game plan. Like, just fucking go in there and have a fucking war, man. You know, just like win or lose, just let it go and let's fucking make each other bloody. Let's go.
I like it. I'll be in the press room, but if you need me in the corner, just call and I'll come out. I'll tap in.
Let's go. Let's go.
I think that's it.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Well, that's fun, you guys.
Thank you very much.
Might want to cut out the whole uncle thing. That might not.
That wasn't there before. Yeah, it does happen. Who's getting the tattoo? Sorry, Merab, I'm just gonna check it. Ooh, that is coming through.
All good.
That buzz. I'm not sure where it's seen. Yeah, it's coming through pretty bad. That's weird. Just came out of nowhere.
Should we just stop? Or do it together? Yeah. Just stop? Merab, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. This is a fight that's been a long time coming, right?
Yes.
How did we get to here from where it was first meant to happen?
We were supposed to fight December 5th, and Cody pulled out, yeah, I was trying to get another fight there, but I guess it's not happening. And then they rescheduled us for February 6th, and I get COVID. I was very bad shape. I was coughing, and I don't feel right. And I asked UFC to move like week after or 2 weeks after. And Cody don't want to wait for me, and they give him new opponent, and the new opponent pull out too. So we finally fighting now, and I can't wait to fight Saturday.
Is it an exciting fight for you? Have you been looking forward to this one?
Yeah, of course. Every fighter, top 15, it's excited. I have big respect for him, and only guy who finished him, he was my teammate and sparring partner, my friend Aljamain Sterling. Other than that, he is top, and he has a great fights in UFC.
What's it like training for the same guy for so long? Do you feel like you're fighting him, for months and months and months?
Nothing specially, to be honest, because I'm always training same way. I have a fight or no, I'm always trying to be training in good shape, and same. I don't feel any different, and I don't really have a game plan. I'm just gonna go and do my thing and fight like I always fight. I'm gonna make game plans inside.
Cool. So how do you see the fight going? How do you see yourself doing in there?
He's top. He's good striking, and he's good wrestler. Stocky, very strong, and I'm prepared for war. All 3 rounds, it's gonna be fights everywhere. Stand up, wrestling, grappling, exchanges, scrambling. I'm ready for war, and I'm gonna left everything in a cage.
Good stuff. And how's Aljamain doing?
He's doing great. He's just did big surgery on his neck, and now he's already doing some little trainings, and makes me happy. And he's gonna come back more than strong.
Cool. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
What does that do for the overall gym, knowing that there's a champ? Has it raised everybody's game up a little bit, knowing that they have something to aim for?
To be honest, nothing really changed. He's my training partner 7 years, and I always look up for him, and I've been training with him, and he always motivates me, and he's same. He's very good man, very good teammate, very good friend, and he's a great man, great guy. And nothing really changed. He's champion, but we are same whatever we was before. And for me, he's always been champion, because he should be champion. Like Cody Stamann and him, when they fight in June, they should be title fight, and he should be champion already. And he's been top 5 last 5 years, and he finally get his title shot. And the fight day, he wasn't himself. He was weak. He don't feel right. He was he don't eat right, and he some days everybody we have some worst day, and he has a worst day. But he was fighting hard, and he win the title like this way. Like he don't want to win this way, but he's deserved it, and I'm just happy to him. And he always motivate me, and I'm always with him. Doesn't matter what.
And I'm sure, like you said, he's always been at a champion level for you. Do you feel that, even though, like you said, he didn't want to win that way, but did you feel that the criticism towards him afterward was unfair?
Yes, I feel he don't deserve it anything negative words, but social media is crazy, or they now of course they talk bad, but yeah, he don't deserve it. Like after fight, he came home, and then everybody, friends, family, teammates, we was waiting for home, and he was with us. Celebrate. We was like, like of course we give him hug, good words, everything. So and then they bring into him belt, and then of course like me, he's like I said, he's my friend, my teammate. He always motivate me, and then I'm always proud of him. Doesn't matter what. So we help him to like take belt from the pocket and put in his shoulder, and we take pictures for him, and I posted, and other friends posted, because we're proud of him. And then all these people, and like they start, oh, why you celebrate this, you don't deserve it. He deserved it. He was number one, he was fighting, and then he got illegal knee in the face, and he wasn't continue. Even he said he don't know if they give it to him title, but it was one round left, more than one round, and I'm sure he will. Whatever. So.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, looking back on the camp, how was camp for this? And did you bring any extra training partners to kind of come in and mimic your opponent?
Training camp, so we started Long Island back home, and I was training with my coaches Ray Longo and Metzera, and I came here like 3 weeks ago, maybe more, and I was training here I wanted to prepare here Vegas, prepare for weather and feel like home. And I have 2 training partners with me, Pumi Nikuta, upcoming UFC fighter. He's really talented, and I have an Albanian wrestler, Wilson. So I'm not mimicking to him. I'm just focused on myself, to be good shape, and I'm gonna do my things. I'm just focused on myself. I'm not focused on my opponent.
And I'm sure you were kind of itching to get back in there. I mean, it hasn't been that long since you haven't been in the cage, but I guess what's been the most frustrating part of having fights set up and then having them sort of fall out? What's been the most frustrating part from in this time in between?
Yeah, I want to be busy. Last year, 2020, I have 3 fights, and I want to list one more fight, 4-fight list, and they give me. I was supposed to fight December 5th, and when fight canceled, I was sad, because I was good shape, and I want to be busy. And after February, I was ready for fight. I was healthy, but I got COVID. And I'm always good shape. I'm always training, and I just want to be busy. I don't want to waste my time. I just want to be busy. I enjoy fighting. That's what I enjoy in my life.
And when you look across at your opponent, Cody, break him down a little bit for me. Where is he dangerous, and what sort of things are you expecting for him to come bring in this fight?
Stand-up, he's really good. He's switching stand-ups, his footwork really good. He hits heavy. He's strong. Stand-up is good, very good. He moves a lot, and he shoots. He has his takedowns, and he's physically strong. And then he was, he was winning all fights, dominate, and he's really strong. I'm just ready for everywhere, stand-up and wrestling or jiu-jitsu.
And then last thing for me, you know, I'm sure you envisioned how this fight plays out in your head. What needs to happen to make sure that you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
I just have to be focused and from the first second to like before fight ended, because I have to be focused. Like this is the very dangerous sport, and I cannot make one mistake because one little thing can change everything. And I don't want this one happen to me. I just wanna win, and I wanna win, dominate. Like I don't want to leave judges' hand. I wanna make sure I'm winning. I want to be comfortable from first round to the round. I want to win all 3 rounds. So I will do everything for this. It's not gonna be easy, but I'm ready. Yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for joining us. How was fight camp coming into this fight? How was your preparation?
Ela foi muito boa. Na real, eu já estava treinando focada em perder peso, já estava preparada para uma luta alguns tempo antes. Aí, um mês casou, eu já estava num ritmo bom de treino. Aí só foi lapidar e melhorar treinando no foco da minha adversária, né? No jogo dela.
It was a good camp. I was already expecting to get a fight at any time, so the UFC offered me this short notice spot with a month to prepare. But I was already training, getting ready to lose weight, so it was just the right time to focus on my opponent and study her game.
Is a month enough time to really be able to focus and game plan, or is it just a matter of just making sure that yourself is fight ready in that short amount of time?
Mês é pouco tempo, você acha, para estudar sua adversária, ou esse mês foi mais para se preparar, tipo, a sua mentalidade para estar pronta para a luta?
Foi mais para preparar a mentalidade mesmo de ser uma luta, porque eu já estava treinando, já estava com foco em voltar. Na real, antes de saber que eu iria lutar, eu já tinha começado a dieta, já estava me preparando, porque eu falei assim, não, provavelmente vai casar uma luta para mim daqui a um tempo. E passou uns 2 meses, 2 meses não, 2 semanas e pouquinho, a luta foi casada. Então eu já estava nessa energia, na vibe que eu vou lutar. Então foi meio que normal, só foi ajustar as coisas mesmo.
Yeah, it was just like getting my mind ready for a fight because I was already on a diet. I was already preparing to come back. I had a serious injury. So 2 weeks before the fight was offered to me, I told the UFC I was available and I knew that the UFC was going to give me a fight soon. So I was already ready to take the fight and step in on this short notice.
Was the injury, was that from the knee bar in the last fight, or is it something else?
A lesão foi aquela chave de joelho que você sofreu contra a Ariane ou foi outra coisa?
Sim, foi essa lesão. Eu tive, depois dessa chave, eu tive que fazer um tratamento para recuperar e poder voltar a lutar normal, treinar tudo.
Yeah, that was the injury. I had to take some time off to let my knee heal, did some treatment, and now I'm fully back.
Okay, that was my next question. The knee feels fully fine, 100%, got full range of motion, everything's good?
E como você está sentindo o joelho? Está 100%? Tem alguma sequela que ficou?
Estou 100%. Desde janeiro eu já estava treinando mais forte, já conseguindo fazer tudo sem sentir dor, sem ter receio no treino, consegui fazer todos os movimentos. E daí de janeiro para cá foi uma crescente para eu conseguir lutar hoje, né?
Yeah, since January I'm able to train without pain and being confident in my knee and in my leg. So between January and now, it was just the time that I needed to really make my knee and my leg strong again, just like the other one. So now I'm 100% and really confident that I'll be able to perform like always.
And I'm sure now that you had to wait some time to finally get this fight, I'm sure that the period up to this point was maybe a little bit frustrating, but I'm sure it was good because you were healing up at the same time. But looking towards the rest of this year, are you looking to try to get more active? Are you at least trying to get maybe 1 or 2 more fights this year as well?
Imagino que ano passado tenha sido um pouco frustrante para você, porque por conta dessa lesão você não conseguiu fazer mais nenhuma luta. E como você enxerga o resto desse ano que a gente está agora, de 2021? Depois dessa luta, você pretende fazer mais quantas lutas? Como que está a sua cabeça em relação a isso?
Sim, foi bem chato, na real, né? Bem intenso, porque eu queria continuar lutando, eu já tinha vindo de uma lesão e eu tive que ficar mais 1 ano parada de novo. Assim, da luta, não a derrota em si, porque perder, né? O que eu fiquei chateada foi porque eu não consegui mostrar o meu jogo, eu não consegui lutar, sabe? Consegui mostrar para o mundo o que eu estava treinando. Depois disso, meio que foi a parte do tratamento, a parte também de focar, de saber que eu vou voltar, né? De não ficar tipo na bad, porque pô, é chato para um atleta ter que ficar parado. Já tinha ficado 1 ano passado parada, mas eu falei, não, vou fazer o tratamento, tudo certo, e eu vou conseguir voltar no ano que vem e lutar, que é o que está acontecendo agora. E eu pretendo, sim, fazer pelo menos mais 2 lutas nesse ano, fora essa, né?
Yeah, it was a very frustrating year because I was very excited for 2020 because in 2019 I had my UFC debut. And then a few months after I fractured my spine, so I had to stop for a long time. And when I came back, I was excited to show my game in July. Unfortunately, there wasn't much of a fight. It was a quick one. So I got injured again, so I was very frustrated. So I had to work a lot on my mind to really see the upside of things. And now I'm back. I want to fight at least twice this year. And I'm very confident that this year will be my year finally in the UFC.
And when they call you up and they give you Polyana as an opponent, what were your initial thoughts on her and where is she dangerous and what sort of things are you expecting her to bring in this fight?
Quando te ofereceram a Poliana Botelho, o que você achou dessa luta e o que você pensou na hora que te foi oferecido esse nome?
Eu achei uma luta boa, tanto para mim, quanto para ela, quanto para o público. A Poliana é uma pessoa agressiva, é uma pessoa que também gosta de trocação, e como eu também, eu acho que vai ser uma ótima luta. Então eu fiquei feliz por isso. Fora, tipo, lógico que ela é outra brasileira e, de novo, eu vou lutar contra a brasileira, mas luta é luta, tipo, é só um trabalho, saindo de lá, tipo, tudo normal.
Yeah, I got really happy with the fight. I really liked the fight because I think it's going to be a good fight for me, for her, and for the crowd. We're both very aggressive strikers, so our games fit well with each other. And yeah, I really like it, except for the fact that it's my third UFC fight, and for the third time I'm fighting a Brazilian, but it's just business.
Which is understandable. I know a lot of Brazilians don't like to fight other Brazilians. It would be nice then to be able to come to America and beat up on an American, right? For a change?
É, sua terceira luta no UFC, terceira brasileira, seria bom, né? Mudar um pouquinho e pegar uma americana nos Estados Unidos.
É, né? Variar um pouquinho, né? Porque toda vez, tipo. Pelo menos no Brasil, acho que não teve nenhuma brasileira que pegou umas sequências assim de brasileira no evento. Minha terceira luta vai ser uma brasileira, mas isso também se dá porque tem muitas meninas do Brasil, mulheres no Brasil, lutando dentro do UFC, e isso também acaba mostrando a força que é para o MMA feminino no Brasil, né? Pô, deve ter, na minha categoria, deve ter umas 8 mulheres, no mínimo, brasileiras. Então, acaba sendo meio que difícil a gente acabar não se cruzando, né? Mas, tomara que na próxima vez venha outra pessoa de uma nacionalidade diferente, não é?
Yeah, it would be good to diversify a little bit because I fought a Brazilian contender. I fought 3 Brazilians in the UFC in my 3 fights so far. So it would be good to fight another nationality for a change. But the good thing about it is that it shows the strength of Brazil in women's MMA. I think we have like 8 women's in our division, 8 Brazilians in our division. So I understand the UFC. I know sometimes it's hard to find opponents from other nationalities, but I'm fine with that. But I really expect that next time maybe I can face someone from another country for my first time.
And then last thing for me, coming back, first fight after an injury, is it about going out and just making sure you get the victory, or will you not be happy unless it's a very definitive finish? If it's not a finish, if it's just I get a decision, I guess what's the main goal in here? What would make you the happiest coming in there after this fight?
E voltando depois de bom tempo parada e da sua última luta, você está pensando focado na vitória, ou mesmo se você ganhar e não for uma performance que você ficar satisfeita, você vai ficar frustrado? Qual que é o seu objetivo nessa luta? O que vai te deixar feliz nessa luta? Qual seria o cenário ideal para você?
Feliz, eu já tô porque eu tô aqui, né? Assim, só depois de tudo que aconteceu, a gente conseguir voltar a estar bem no evento, porque vai ser uma boa luta. Eu quero, sim, a vitória, né? Porque se eu não quisesse ganhar, nem aqui eu tava, mas eu quero fazer uma boa luta, eu quero mostrar o que eu não consegui mostrar na última luta. E assim, se eu fizer o que eu estou pensando, sim, eu vou sair com a vitória, que é isso que eu vim buscar, né?
Yeah, first of all, I'm already really happy to be back, to be able to recover and to be here. I'm really happy. Of course, what I want the most is to show my improvement that I wasn't able to show in my last fight. So, if I am able to do everything that I trained, and I will be able, yeah, I'm gonna be very happy because I know the win is coming.
Best of luck. Obrigado.
Real welcome.
Thank you. the man have his coffee.
I don't need any more, trust me.
Oh, yeah.
Tweaking right now.
Well, it's a lot, this fight's been a long time in the making, right?
Yeah, you could say that.
Has it been one you've been anticipating, or is there reached a certain point where you've been thinking about it so much that you're almost like, oh, just don't even put it in front of me anymore?
I thought that after the last one got canceled. I was like, I know they're going to bring Merab's name. I'm going to say no. I'm not going to do it a third time. Like, I've been training for this guy for 4, 5, 6 months. Like, I don't want to. I want to train for somebody else. You know what I mean? Even if it doesn't mean as much. Even if, like, I don't care. Just give me somebody else. And he was coming to Extreme, and he was training with all my training partners, and they were kind of the ones that talked me into the fight. They were like, "Listen, you should maybe fight this guy." And I'm like, "No, I'm not going to do it. You know, I gotta train for somebody else." They're like, "Dude, you're not going to get another opportunity to fight a guy like this. It's a good stylistic matchup for you. We think, you know, just because you never know. You don't know someone's level until you can see it. You know what I mean? Until they go with guys that you trust." And you know, once he started training with all my training partners, they're like, "Listen, his wrestling's not better than yours. You should fight him." And they were the kind of the ones that talked me into doing it the third time. So here we are.
Damn, he's probably going to hate hearing that, right?
Yeah, I mean, but he had to know that you know, coming into a gym that I've been training at for the last year, that he's going to be, you know, training with all my training partners. And I seen him there. You know, it was weird because, like, maybe a week before we signed the fight, him and I were in the same practice twice. You know, he was sparring the same day I was sparring. I mean, we stayed away from each other, obviously, because we kind of knew this was coming. But, yeah, I've seen him a lot. I've seen him more than I've ever seen any opponent leading up to a fight. So it's been odd, but whatever.
I was going to ask you about that, if it was the most you've seen an opponent. Is it a pleasant experience, or just an uncomfortable experience, or outright horrible experience?
Oh, no, you know, dude, he's such a nice guy. You know, he's such a humble, nice guy. It's hard to, you know, it'd be way easier for me if he was an asshole, you know, because, you know, I got to go kill this guy, and he's a super nice guy. So on a personal level, nothing but respect for Merab, but, you know, this is the hurt business. So I don't exactly want to, like, become friends with him before we fight, because I know that my job is to hurt this guy in every way possible. So, yeah, I mean, there's no personal beef between Merab and I, but you know, some of his fans were just ruthless to me. I mean, it's been like I've been harassed almost every fight by, you know, different people, man. But those people really love their athletes, and I respect them for it. But at the same time, man, they have harassed me to the point where I'm like, I'm ready to kill somebody.
When you say harassment, you mean just like the standard Instagram comments on every single thing you do? Or
oh, yeah, that and some of the personal stuff. I mean, they took it to a different level. They took it to a place that just never had to go. And, you know, I think there's always a line, you know, there's with trash talk. You know, like, my line is family. Like, you just never cross that line, no matter what. No matter if there's a big opportunity to really piss somebody off, get under their skin. Like, I will never ever say anything about someone's family. Never. I will never cross that line, and they cross it, and that for me is like, you're dead in the water. You know, I'm like kind of an old country boy like that. Like, you could pretty much say whatever you want about me. The second you bring my family into it, like, I'm a different human. I'm very, very agitated about it.
Are you savoring the moment we get the victory that you can turn around and be like, you did this?
Oh God, yeah. Yeah, I've been thinking about it for a long time. Probably an unhealthy obsession, honest to God. But you know, when I'm put in situations like that, I tend to do my best. You know, in a situation like Brian Kelleher, that was a fight that I took on 2 weeks' notice. I really hadn't been in the gym because of COVID, and they just, you know, they put me in a different place of focus, and you know, I'm able to do a lot in situations like that.
I think with Merab, everyone kind of knows the fighting style he's going to come with, right? It's going to be high pressure wrestling, grappling, grinding sort of style. Mm-hmm. You've had the scouting reports from your own teammates. How do you see you matching up with that style?
Yeah, you know, I'm an underdog in this fight, which is interesting because I've competed against a lot of high level wrestlers. You know, I fought Brian Caraway. I fought other guys that are known for being good wrestlers, and I have a lot of wrestling accolades myself, and it's funny, I really think that he's never fought, and everybody says this, everyone's like, yeah, he's never fought anyone like me, but honest to God, he's never fought anybody with the wrestling accolades that I have, and I've been fighting guys consistently as an underdog my entire fighting career, and if you look at his career, it's like he's fighting guys, I think half his fights were on short notice, most of them were outside the top 15. I think the only ranked guy he fought was John Dotson, and John Dotson was great in his time, but John Dotson stopped fighting 3 years ago. You know what I mean? We haven't seen John Dotson in the cage in a long time. He shows up, but is he really out there to win? No, I don't think so. I think he's just out there to hopefully land a big shot. So if you look at my path to get here and his path to get here, mine's a lot more treacherous than his.
Is there going to be a moment in the fight, do you think, where he'll go for that takedown, he'll go for that grappling exchange, and you're able to negate it and stop it, and then you're on the feet, and I would say that your striking is probably a little bit better than his, that you're going to just see this moment as like, okay, the fight's mine now?
Yeah, and I think one mistake a lot of guys have made against Merab is they're so terrified of his wrestling that they don't really stand with the guy. They're very cautious, kind of touching, not really trying to commit to anything, because the second you commit to something, he shoots. I'm not really worried about getting in those wrestling exchanges with him. Like, we can wrestle for 15 minutes if you want. It's like, that's fine with me. Like, I don't have to fight Merab on our feet. I can beat him in the wrestling exchanges, and that's the difference between me and the other guys he's fought, is that, like, I'm good in those positions. I'm really good in those positions. Like, so I don't think that Merab's going to be able to run 10 takedowns on me. And if he does, I'm getting up 10 times, and it's going to be nasty on our feet. It's just going to make me more tenacious because I know that I'll be behind. I've been wanting to compete for a really long time, like more than maybe I've ever wanted to compete in the UFC. And, I think if Merab and I had fought in December, I think he would have had a distinct advantage in the cardio aspect of the fight. And that's really where he wins. And I knew that going into it. I knew that, in December I had to fight a certain way. I had to slow the fight down. I had to make him fight my fight. But you gave me 6 months to prepare, so knowing that I'm probably fighting Merab, I've done things that, I didn't actually think I was physically capable of doing, 6 months ago. So now I'm in a place where it's like, we can do whatever he wants to do. You know what I mean? If he wants to wrestle for 15 minutes, we can wrestle for 15 minutes. If he doesn't want to shoot and you want to just bang it on our feet, well, I'm game for that too.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
Yep, thank you.
When you mentioned that you did things at this camp that you never did before, or was it something in that time away that made you want to push yourself there, or was it him as an opponent that made you want to push yourself there?
He absolutely elevated me. I mean, just knowing that, after the Rivera fight, a fight that I didn't have more than 2 days to prepare for, you know what I mean? I pretty much went on vacation after I fought Brian Kelleher to, deal with some personal stuff, and then I get a call to fight Frankie Edgar, and I say yes, and so does Jimmy Rivera, and we end up fighting. And Jimmy was never, I wasn't a guy I wanted to fight, especially not on 4 days' notice. Jumping on a plane, going to Abu Dhabi, and fighting, and just not having the gas tank to win, to be competitive. Like, I was tired that whole fight. I was tired the first 2 minutes of that fight, and to be in a fight and be tired is a terrible, terrible experience, because there's shots coming at you and you don't have the energy to move. You don't have the energy to do the things you need to do to win. And that hurt me. So I was like, listen, this is never, ever going to happen again. And then who do I get next? I get Merab, the guy that is literally known for having some of the best cardio in the UFC, period. So that's when I started pushing myself to an insane level. And I got to a really, really good place in December, but still I believe I would have had a disadvantage. But then, I'm already in great shape. Okay, so now we're going to fight again in March. Okay, so, well, we're just going to get right back to it. And then now I'm going even further. And in March, I was in just amazing shape. I'm like, this is the best I've ever been. I can't get better than this. And, the fight doesn't happen, and I'm sitting here like, what the hell? Like, what am I doing? And then I get Merab again. I'm like, well, I'm already in crazy good shape. Let's just build on this. And now
I think the fastest mile I ran, just to give like a background, like the fastest mile I ran was like 6:15. I ran like a 4:56. Like I shaved like a full almost 2 minutes off my mile time just in the 6 months that I've had to prepare. Like I definitely have the gas tank to do whatever I need to do to win this fight, and I know that, and that's a huge confidence builder going into a fight like someone against Merab.
Is it tough, especially with that much time into a camp, especially when things can go away, to peak too soon?
Yeah, definitely. And I had to like pull myself out of the gym after that one in March got canceled. I had literally had to find something else to do. So, you know, me being the builder, restoration guy that I've always been, you know, that's what I did growing up. I bought an RV and I renovated an RV. Like that was like my time out of the gym, and I've been kind of working on it here and there throughout camp, and that was like something that I did to so that I wasn't plastered in the gym and I wasn't like burning my body to the ground. And it's been good, man. The 2 weeks that I had to recover, it was exactly what I needed. And then this fight camp, you know, I pulled the hard stuff out 3 weeks ago. I mean, I did all my hard workouts months ago, you know, weeks ago. So, I mean, I've been recovering for the last 3 weeks and just focusing on making weight and getting mentally prepared to get in a war with this kid.
And I know you mentioned earlier that you're coming again an underdog, and I know you're just referring to the betting odds, but have you ever went in there against somebody where you've kind of felt internally that you were the underdog coming into it?
Oh, definitely. When I fought Tom Duquesnoy, that was a situation where I didn't know if I could beat him. You know, I'd heard so much about how great he was. I'd watched his highlights. I was like, wow, this kid he's extraordinary. He's really, really good. I mean, and he's dangerous in situations that, you know, I know that I'm going to be in this fight. And it was like a fight where I went in there just praying for the best. You know what I mean? I did everything to prepare to win, but honestly, if I'm being honest, I wasn't sure if I could. And then, you know, there was a point in the fight where I'm like, dude, I'm better than this guy. Like, what am I doing? Like, I got to put it on him. Like, I got to start fighting. And it was like when I was sitting on the bench in between the first and second round, I was like, dude, there's absolutely no reason why I can't whoop this dude. And that was the rest of the fight. You know, the first round was close. The next 2 rounds, I killed him on our feet, between the takedowns, everything. It was an eye-opening moment for me. I'm like, dude, I'm giving these guys way too much credit. And, you know, from here on out, you know, I don't buy the hype anymore. I'm not looking at I talk about the odds, but do I really care? No, I've been an underdog in almost every fight. So, you know, I'm always betting on me to win.
And you kind of answered it there. So that was like a catalyst moment for you. At that point,
Yeah.
You never felt or maybe doubted yourself after that point. Going into this camp, did you have any aha moment at some point in this camp where you're just like, wow, all this work is really, I can feel that it's paying off? Did you have some moment at some point where you're just like, guys, we're dialed in, it's going to happen, something big's going to happen?
Yeah, it was just, I added a bunch of wrestling to my regiment, and you know, I did it, and it was horrible at first. You know, I actually enjoy wrestling. I hate wrestling. I did it for so long growing up. I don't want to do it anymore, and I really haven't done it much throughout my MMA career, surprising as that is. But this camp, I really, really focused on it, and I did just miserable wrestling practices twice a week. You know, I've done it for the past 6 months, and it just got to a point where, you know, like I could do this crazy barn burner wrestling practice, and I still felt okay. Like I would go home, go swimming, you know what I mean? Like go for a run. Like I still had energy after that, and it was kind of like, dude, I'm ready. That was the moment, you know what I mean? Just knowing that I could push myself to where I knew this fight would go. Because honestly, I wasn't really sure. I really thought that I had to fight one certain style, you know, because I'm a super tactical guy. I like to think about, you know, the best ways to win, and that's kind of what's gotten me to the show. And I'm at a point now, it's like, dude, I'm ready for anything. Like, let's just get in there and let's get in there and make an extra 50 grand. Like, because Merab and I definitely have the styles to do that.
And just a couple last ones. I guess in this time away, you know, it definitely gave you a lot of time to prepare, and you've grown leaps and bounds in terms of yourself. What's been the most frustrating thing that's in this time away of waiting to get back in there?
Oh, I mean, sitting here talking to you guys and then not fighting, that was frustrating in March. That was painful. You know, fight day, you already weighed in, you're there, you're ready, you're mentally, you're focused, everything is right, exactly the way it should be. I felt great, and then just having the rug pulled, that was frustrating, that was hard, and that was the hardest thing about the whole deal is, you know, I want to compete. You know, I want to show people how hard I've been working. I want the opportunities, to, you know, to make money, to further my career, and to not have that opportunity that time was insanely frustrating. You know, because I've never weighed in and been, you know, on deck to fight, and then, you know, had the rug pulled. That was frustrating. But I mean, like anything else, you know, I'll figure it out.
And then something that somebody mentioned earlier, and you had talked about Twitter and how sometimes people can push it and go over the line. Earlier, Dom Reyes was saying he kind of just stayed away from social media for this camp. Have you ever considered doing the same sort of thing? And what are your thoughts on that as for if that could be beneficial or not?
Yeah, I think it is beneficial. I really haven't been paying attention to it the last couple of weeks, just because like I just don't need anything, you know, negative in my mind right now. But it's also very motivating. Sure. You know what I mean? If you're banged up and you don't really want to go to practice, and you get on Instagram and, you know, someone's ragging on you about this or that, it's like I have like a just chip on my shoulder, like, I'm gonna show you, dude. Like, I'll see you. Bring that energy after the fight, and then we'll see what you have to say.
And then lastly, I'm sure you played this fight out multiple ways through your head. What needs to happen to make sure you get your arm raised at the end of the night?
I just got to show up at this point. I just got to show up to the cage. You know, I've done everything to prepare. I've been in all the bad positions. I know what to do. I just got to show up. I mean, that's the story of my fighting career. If I show up, I win. And that's it. I just got to be there physically and mentally on fight night.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
I think that's it.
Boom.
Raz, raz, dwa, raz, raz.
Krzysztof, good to see you. How was fight camp coming in? How was your preparation? How are you feeling coming into fight week?
Hello, everybody. Preparation was very long, very smart, and very hard. I started to train like in the beginning of January. I come back for my right shoulder surgery, so I was having a holiday like 6 months. So after this, I just come back to the work and work really, really hard for this fight.
Well, if your holiday is working hard, our holidays are very different from each other. But how is the shoulder? How are you feeling?
My shoulder, my upper body is perfect for right now. I hope so. It will be the same after fight, and I feel great for this time.
When you've been training this long leading into the fight, you know, it's been quite some time. What's been the toughest thing, just trying to stay motivated, knowing that, you know, the fight is still so far away?
You know, for me, it was always I was very close to like ranking or very close for a good fight, and then I have an injury again. So this preparation, I was focused to train, but train smart. Don't get injured again in a training and I can't fight again, you know. So I was training smart. I train, if I was tired, I just take the 1 day break and I come back next day. And everything was great with this camp.
I was going to say, by switching up, does that help make the routine feel fresh? Does it keep you more excited to go back in the gym since you switched it up a little bit?
Yeah, I think so too, because nobody want to go to the gym and feel like, oh, my shoulder hurts, my leg hurts, my fist hurts, my head hurts, you know. So this camp, I try to be fresh every day and come to the training, come to fresh for the sparring and be healthy for our camp, because I'm not young the fighter. I'm fight like long time in the UFC, like 8 years. So I'm 31 years old. So I need to be a little smarter now.
And you definitely have a lot of experience, and your opponent across the way has a lot of experience as well. When they gave you the name Sean Strickland, what was your initial thoughts on him, and where is he dangerous, and what are you expecting when you step into the octagon?
I think Sean have a very good condition like me. So this is not the guy who be tired, and he have a phenomenal boxing, like very, very technical boxing. And I think this is what I see from his good side.
And then, is it about just getting in there, getting the win, or do you need to have a definitive finish? Do you need to have a great showing, or is it just about getting that win and getting back on the, getting that first win for the year?
You know, I don't want to prediction the fights, but I can tell you I give my best in this fight.
That's all we could hope for. Best of luck.
You mentioned a second ago you felt you were close to the rankings. You're right there. You're getting there. He has that 15 next to his name. I know it's not the highest ranking, but he does have that ranking. How important is it to beat him and to get in there?
Compete with a fight doing this, you know, and I want to keep going, and this is what I want to do. You know, I want to do this what I love in my life.
You had a long winning streak. You lost 3 in a row and then won 3 in a row. Like, does your mindset change? Does when you're on a streak, does it affect how you're thinking? Does it add confidence, or are you always pretty much the same?
Before I lose this, I have the 3 lose streak. I make a lot of bad decision in my life, in my career, and I always come to the fight with a broken left hand for 2 fights with David Branch and Uriah Hall. And after I fight Brad Tavares, and I was coming back too fast because I was waiting with the injuries. I was like hungry to come back, but stupid to come back because I come back too fast, and this is what happens. My 3 lose.
You just find yourself getting too like, I have to do it. I have to go fight. I have to go win.
Yes, exactly. I just do this because I have to do it because I lose 2 fights in a row and I don't fight now 6 months. And in this fight, I was not in the right place. You know, mentally, I can say now I was feeling like scary. I don't feel the distance. I was feel not right in this fight.
Thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Giga, here we are, fight week. How are you feeling, and how was camp coming into this?
Feeling great, feeling great. Everything went by plan. You know, for the beginning, it was a little hard with a little different type of injuries, but right now everything is good, everything is great, and I can't wait for my performance for Saturday.
Well, you sound like you're very excited and everything's going good.
Yeah.
Here we are, fight week, and you have a huge name. I guess a lot of people consider, Cub a legend in his own right. When you're given that name, what was your initial thoughts when he was your opponent?
He's definitely a legend, and I've been watching his fight for a long, long time. And I know him as a person. We met each other before, and we have many friends between. But yeah, and I thought that this fight would happen because he's kind of his way out, and I just got in, and because we are kind of friendly with each other. But it's fight, I have a dream. I'm here for my dream, and I've been cheering this for a long, long time. I've been chasing this for a long time, and I have a mission, and I'm taking this very serious, whoever it will be, and I'm ready to fight Cub, as I'm ready to fight anybody in division. I'm ready to fight champ. Just walk away.
So this obviously Cub. There's a guy that you've seen lots of tape on. You've seen plenty of fights and stuff. Do you think he's still capable of bringing a new wrinkle to the fight, showing you something that you maybe haven't seen?
Oh yeah, he's very smart. He's a big, great IQ fighter. He's not just a brawler guy. Whenever he needs to bring some pressure, he brings, and he's good in jiu-jitsu, he's good in wrestling, and he's a very good striker as well with a heavy, heavy punch. So I think he studied me really well. That's what he thinks, and he's going to try to bring some new weapon, and he's going to have probably the same tactic and same strategy what any other fighters they do to take me down and submit me. That's what they think because I'm who I am. I'm the striker, one of the best, right? So.
Would it be easy to say that, or would it be right to say that he would be the biggest victory in your career?
Yeah, for sure. As a name, he's a legend. We already talked about it. That he's a legend. Definitely, would be the biggest name. But as a fight, I fought a couple of fighters who were undefeated, and that was kind of big for me because they were good fighters as well.
And last for me, just looking at the UFC rankings, it looks like you're 14, he's 15, but still with a definitive victory over a guy like Cub. Do you think that's still enough to propel you still higher up into the rankings?
For sure, yeah. I'm expecting after this to call out some top 5 guys. Expect guys, the big names, me into calling out. First thing first, I have a business to handle the way I want, and when this gonna happen, and then we're gonna talk again.
Okay, I was gonna say, if you want to give us a sneak peek of anybody on your list, you feel free, you can share.
No, I can share, but probably one of the most dangerous guy in division. I want straight lions, that's why I'm saying the top 5 guys. The guy who I really want to fight next, he had one of the best performance in our weight division. So I'm not gonna say the name.
Appreciate you.
Sure, a pleasure.
Was there any hesitation taking the fight due to your friendship with Cub?
I kind of smiled for some few seconds, and we're not friends, but we're very friendly, kind of, when we talked the first time when we met, we only met once. When we met, so his manager, Gami, who unfortunately died, he used to be the friend with me too, and that's how I know more about the Cub than a fighter, besides being a fighter, And we have many other friends between. of course, I thought about like this, like kind of stop for a second, but that's my opportunity because nobody took the fight from top 15. I'm a 5-0 in the UFC, and been one of the most busiest guy from last year. Got my 4 win in 2020, and I believe I deserved a big name to fight. And they offered me a couple of fighters. I said always yes, and they said always no. And I'm in from top 15. And finally they throw the name Cub, and he was not even in top 15 at the moment. And I was not even there. And I was like, all right, at least people know Cub. So I fought five different fighters, really tough fighters, really tough fighters. And if you go on Twitter today, you can see UFC were feeding Giga with cans. I can't imagine they'd say that.
And when you go into a fight where you know someone, like you said, you're not friends, but you do know him, is it a little bit more difficult to fight somebody that you know, or would you prefer?
Right now, at this moment, no, because I mean, this week is my dream coming, and I can fight anybody. There is no person I cannot fight, and for my dream. And after the fight, we're gonna continue the friendly relationship. I believe so. We'll see.
Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, guys.
What's up, guys?
What's up, buddy? So, do us a favor and clear something up for us. How short notice is this fight for you?
A couple weeks. I got it last Sunday is when I first got the call, and then on Monday it was made official.
So, is this the shortest fight notice you've ever had, or?
No, man, I've actually fought on 24 hours notice before.
Okay.
So, and that was 3 fights in one night.
Right.
And I won all 3. So I typically do well on short notice.
So 2 weeks doesn't really phase you, no?
No, I actually, it would have been cooler if it was 24 hours notice. You got less time to think.
Is that something you found, that actually the shorter notice, the better it is for you, because you don't have time to just sort of think and over anxiety yourself?
Yeah, for sure. As long as I'm prepared, as long as I've been training, I wouldn't have said yes to any of it had I not been training. But as long as I'm prepared, I feel like I can go in there and win any fight that I have. So yeah, if it's short notice, I'm ready.
There's a bit of a weird one as well, right? But I don't know if this even crosses your mind, but if you're the guy who goes in on short notice and wins, it's not a bad sort of look for you,
Yeah, it looks even better, right? It looks a lot better. Same with, when the odds came out, all my buddies are, they're big gamblers. They want to know what the odds are going to be. I was like, well, I'm sure I'm going to be an underdog. I mean, it's short notice. This guy's been on the card. He's been preparing for this date. So, but like I said, I'm prepared. I fully expect to win on Saturday.
What do you think of Ion? I'm sure you must have seen his little couple of fights he's had in his little rivalry. What do you think of him as an opponent?
Yeah, it's funny. I've been watching him fight, not just by chance, the past couple years. I remember even in 2018 when, after I broke my arm a couple times, taking a little bit of a break. He's a guy that just sticks out to the fans, and he stuck out to me. And, of course, he's in my weight division, so I look at those guys a little bit closer. But I think he's a great fighter. I think he's an emotional guy. I think all the way from the weigh-ins are pretty dramatic, and he goes out there and he tries putting you away early, man. He swings for the fences. I think that I can expose that a little bit. I think his emotional state of mind is somewhat of a weakness for him, and it expends a lot of energy. So if I can go out there, be cool, calm, collected, and weather that storm early on, I think I have a great chance of beating this guy, and I think it's a great matchup for everybody.
You mentioned the weigh-ins. Are you going to prepare yourself for a Jeremy Stephens kind of shove and just keep it at a distance?
Yeah, man, just don't touch me at weigh-ins. He can get up in my face and yell and do all that stuff. Just don't touch me. I hope he doesn't. And after that Jeremy Stephens thing, they'll probably put something in the contract. Like if you touch your opponent, you're losing 1% of your purse, which I think it should be, man. That's unfortunate. That fight got scratched, and then that guy got injured from, you're not expecting the guy to just, go off and push you hard and jolt your neck or whatnot. But I'll be ready. I'll sit up there. I've got a few things. I'm prepared.
Jeremy Stephens is an emotional guy, right? So it's not like the craziest thing in the world that he did that.
Right.
But have you ever been up there and there's been a guy in particular you didn't like, or he's given you a look, or it's got that intense that you felt that level of angry at a weigh-ins?
No, the only time that I've had an issue, I fought, it was just with my Glory kickboxing career, I fought Michael Dute over in London. We fought at the O2 Arena. And it was one of the first Dutch guys I fought and foreign guys, and he got right up in my face, and I thought he was gonna, I didn't know. I thought he was gonna touch me or kind of push me or do something, and he just got up in my face. He goes, "Tomorrow I kill you," and I'll never forget it, man. It was the first time I've had that confrontation at weigh-ins, and my armpits just started sweating profusely, and I got so worked up, I broke out in a sweat. And he did TKO me the next day, so he wasn't lying. But yeah, it was that's the only time that I've been in that situation. So I'll be prepared for Friday's weigh-ins.
I guess that's a bit of a trip, right? Because you're probably going up there let's just do this face-off, go, and then for someone to suddenly bring that, it's probably more just the shock of the different energy rather than anything else, right?
Well, yeah, and I'm an easygoing guy, lighthearted. I go up there just kind of nonchalant. So when they get up there and make it a little more dramatic than what it is, it's a little bit of a shock. But like I said, now I'll be prepared for it. And if he does, it's cool, man. The fans like to see that. Just don't touch me. I just don't want him pushing me.
I'm looking forward to the fight, man.
Yeah, thank you, man.
Just to follow up on that real quick, because we're going down this road, how tough is it to not react before somebody does, right? You're up there, you don't expect him to get all intense, and then when somebody starts to get intense, you're like, do I need to go first? To react before they even do something. How tough is that mindset?
Yeah, like I said, you just have to be prepared. Usually I walk up and put my hands behind my back and, just kind of sit there and make it casual. But in this case, my mind's already prepared. I know, I'm expecting him to come up and do something crazy. So, I'll probably get in my stance and get ready for, if anything goes down.
So thanks.
Have you ever thought about going out there and trying to just throw out random phrases towards your opponent just to see if it'll work for you as well?
No, I usually keep it, casual, keep it kosher. I have a couple things in mind to say if he does try getting a little bit crazy and getting up in my face, but I'll save it for the weigh-ins, and I think it'll surprise him a little bit.
I like how out of nowhere we've built up this weigh-in face-off. Like something's going to happen.
Watch, nothing happens.
Yeah,
We
I
get
know.
out there and he'll just be cool, calm, and collected.
I hope you choose a good accent, and I want you to pull out the most randomest phrase that you could possibly think. Do you think you could deliver one without losing, without breaking character? Do you think he would just laugh if you tried to throw some movie line out at him?
Well, I think that no, I think he'd stay aggressive. I think he'd stay in the zone. Like I said, I just have to be prepared, and we'll see what happens.
When it's so short like this, is game planning even a thing at that point, or is it just staying focused on yourself, or do you try to cram? Are you the kind of person that does watch tape on opponents? Do you try to do a crash course and try to come up with a game plan?
You know what? Honestly, I'm not the type of person that watches a lot of film. I do watch some, but then I've made that mistake in the past where I just watch film of my opponent nonstop, and then I start to put so much focus on them and what they're good at and what they're capable of. I lose focus of what I'm good at and what I'm capable of. So I'll watch film a couple times early on just to be prepared and know what we're going against. And then from there, man, I focus on what I do well and I focus on myself. And in this case, with my coach, we just got to be me. We didn't really put a big game plan together. Like I said, it's short notice. You go out there and just be you. We know what he does. He comes out swinging for the fences, and he's heavy-handed. But that's right down my alley. I'm a striker, and I've got a lot of striking experience, and he's not anything that I haven't seen before. I've faced some of the best guys, the best strikers in the world in Glory Kickboxing. If you go check my resume, and that's what I say, man, the Hanyak's forged in fire. I've been through it to get to it, and here I am. I think every one of those experiences in the past has led me to where I am right now, and is going to, carry me into Saturday night.
And I think that says something to the activity level. We've already spoken to a lot of fighters that, this is almost their first fight they've had in a year's time. You're staying pretty active. What would you attribute to being able to stay active? Is it just being near the phone, ready to take that call? Is it going out there and giving that 100% every time? What would you attribute to the activity level?
Well, I would attribute that just to my, I took a lot of time off in 2018, and there was like 6 to 8 months, and the longer I took off, I was kind of content. There was part of me that thought I was never going to fight again, and part of me was content with that, but then part of me would watch these guys, and I knew I was on that level. I knew I could compete, and I got that fire reignited. I came back, had some fights in 2019 and won them, and then I had the Contender Series fight. And once I had that Contender Series fight and I made it back to the UFC, that's when I told myself, man, the work's just starting all over again. So I've been dedicated. I've been committed in the gym. I've been grinding and staying active. And I think the good things come to those that work for it and get after it. So that's what I've been doing, and that's why I'm able to answer these calls on short notice. And I put myself in a great position, man. I got a new contract with the UFC. I feel appreciated, and I'm excited to go out there and get the job done on Saturday.
Do you have a favorite movie villain character that you know?
I love Deadpool.
Maybe you could try some Deadpool. Deadpool's got plenty of one-liners.
Right? You know what? I'm going to have to watch that movie again and maybe get one from the movie and have it in my back pocket.
That would be wonderful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
I've got just one fun one for you. I see you have a Traeger. I'm just curious what your favorite thing to smoke is.
Oh man, probably the elk I put down. I got a Traeger. Actually, my wife and I just gave my old Traeger to our father-in-law. And so we're actually in an apartment complex right now that doesn't allow Traegers. We sold our townhome, moved into there. And so we gave our Traeger to my father-in-law. I can't wait to get my Traeger, to get a new one and get on it. But my buddy who lives right down the road, we go there and I put down a big bull in November, and before every fight, I'll go there and we smoke some anything from the bull that we put down, and we come into fight week. So probably the elk.
I did have to ask. I saw the dog tags. Are those decorative, or you didn't serve? Did you serve?
I did not serve. It's something that my coach put together. It's a quote from the man in the arena, saying it's not the critic who counts; it's the actual man in the arena. And then it's got my name, and it says Factory X and FDR for Fine Daily Results. So I don't wear these all the time. I have a big Man in the Arena poster that has it all quoted out, and I hang it on that. And then come fight week, it's something that coach made up for all the fighters. And when we have fight week, we'll wear them out to the cage. We take them off and put them on coach before we go in. So kind of a cool little tradition we started at Factory X, and just got to keep it rolling.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing.
Sweet. Thanks, guys.
Hi, Jiri. First of all, I'd love to ask about the hair and the influence behind it.
That's my antenna to catch the best Wi-Fi. Well, it's I was how to say, I was motivated by the Muay Thai warriors, like before the fight with traditional white crew, if you know that. And I like this stuff. Like I say that it's a war hair. It's my kind of how I'm taking this this moment, this fight importantly and seriously. And this is the hair just for this moment.
Is there a moment where you get the haircut and that you stand up and you leave and you're ready now? This is fight time. Now that you've got the hairstyle, you're ready to go.
I'm ready all the time.
Okay. What do you think of Dominick Reyes? It's a big name. You know, he had that great fight against John Jones. He did lose that fight and his last fight against Jan Blachowicz. But what do you think of him as an opponent?
I don't know him personally, but he looks like a good man. And he's a very good athlete, very good striker, and that's how I'm taking him seriously. Not like I was in the first fight, in the first round. How I was a little bit. I took it a little bit easier, and now I want to keep it the most professionally how I can.
Do you think, after losing his last fight in the knockout the way that he did, he will try and avoid standing up and go to the grappling, or do you think he'll try and prove something to himself that he can still stand on the feet, or do you think it doesn't matter at all?
In the fight?
Yeah.
I think I'm ready for the fighting in the stand-up, because that's my state of fighting, and I think he will change the strategy to me, and he wants to take me down, and I'm ready for that, to wrestle with him and to fight on the ground. That was my prepare.
Do you think if you win this fight, you will fight for the world title next, the winner of Jan and Glover?
With who?
The winner of Jan Blachowicz and Glover Teixeira?
For me, it's not important right now. I don't think about that right now, because I'm enjoying the journey in the UFC, and if this title will be after one fight, two fights, for me it's not so important. I want to just show my best on this event.
When I see the hair, it makes me think of Tong Po and kickboxer. We've been talking a lot about weigh-ins and people coming out and putting on fun characters and stuff. Have you ever thought about trying to come and try to get in your opponent's head on a weigh-in, maybe portray a character? Is that something that you'd be interested in, taking this even further?
What ask, please? What a question.
In weigh-ins, a lot of times we see, sometimes people come face paint, sometimes
Yeah,
people
yeah.
wear outfits. We see the hair, it reminds me of the movie Kickboxer. There's a character,
yeah,
Tom Poe,
yeah.
the bad guy. Have you ever thought about trying to, at a weigh-in, come in character to get into the mindset of your opponent?
No. It's just that's my crazy thing before the fight. What I did many times before, in many fights before, I did some crazy hair on my head. So it's I think it's not to scare my opponent. It's just for me. It's and I like it. I'm enjoying this hair, because it's give me the power of this week and of this fight.
Do you feel that you're coming in at a whole nother level than maybe you have every other camp coming into here? Are you feeling that you're peaking from where you've been in the past?
Yeah, that was my work all the time from of this preparing. Yeah, so I tried to upgrade my style to be not to keep more the hands up, and to be more precise in all these moves. Yeah. Because my first round in my first fight was a little bit dangerous.
Your opponent's coming in, he has a couple losses coming in. Do you feel that he's going to have extra pressure on his shoulders to try to come out and make an example from you? Or is it the kind of thing that you think he's just going to be prepared for you and he won't have any extra pressure coming in on this fight?
I don't thinking about him because I don't know him personally, like I said. I'm counting with that. He will show the best performance, and that's make me more to keep me myself more professional, like in first fight.
And is it important to get a finish here, or is it just about getting the win? Do you need to have a definitive finish of him, or is it just about getting the win?
No, every time it's about the finish, about the take the fight to my hands to end it. If you're asking for that.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Do you see this fight as being the number one contender fight?
I don't care. I will show my best. That's what I can say. That's everything. Yeah.
Best of luck.
Thank you.
I noticed that you took a picture next to the Mortal Kombat movie. Did you see it? And are you going to get any inspiration from the movie or any movies?
Yeah. I liked it. But I like this movie was great, but I like more the game because especially in this game these fighters, they shows the right moves, nice and right moves, very smoothly, very dangerously, and it's a motivation for me. Yeah, it's a little bit funny, but I like to be motivated by this game, and the movie was great. That was just a fun for us, for my team to spend the time here a little bit easier, and let's fight.
Were you surprised that he took this fight? I mean, he's coming from 2 championship fights. You look pretty scary in your debut. Were you surprised that he decided to fight with you?
The Dominick?
Yeah.
He decided to fight with. It's a honor. It's a honor for me. Like I said, I respect him, and it's a big honor for me to fight with this big name. And but I have a lot of fights. I think twice more than Dominick. Yeah, because so I think I'm ready for that fight. I'm ready for that opponent, and I will win.
How big is this opportunity for you to show yourself in front of the American audience? Because who saw you in Rising would know that you were really good at knocking out people. But how big is this opportunity for you to show your talent in front of all the American audience?
Yeah, I think it's good opportunity to show all these American people this my fighting style, because everything about in my fighting style is just to share this to share that style, what I'm working on all the time. So I want to show my best. Yeah, I want to show my best. I want to show the beauty of my kind of martial arts. Thanks.
Is that long enough?
Why are you looking at me?
Because you're always the one who's like.